Father Walter with you again, inviting you to recognize how it is that our church itself can teach us how to pray. So specifically, I'm welcoming you to our church. You see its 3 doors, inviting you to befriend it by recognizing the patronage in which this church sits. That's captured in these 3 shields above the doors. So you have here, above the main door, our parish seal with its link to the patronage of St. Thomas Aquinas. Then over here, to the left, you have the shield of the Diocese of Richmond, connecting us to its patron saint, Vincent de Paul. And then over here, to the right, you have the shield of the Dominican province of St. Joseph, the community of Dominican friars who serve this parish, which connects us to the patronage of St. Dominic and St. Joseph. And that's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot for me to say. And you might like for Catholic life to be just simple. We're all followers of Jesus. We're all believers in Him. And we're believers in His Eucharist. And that's all true. It's the foundation of us all. But in fact, Catholic life is incredibly complex because human nature is incredibly complex, both in individuals and in the whole group of us. And ever since Pentecost, the Church has reflected this truth and, in the spiritual life, has invited all of us to befriend the complexity within and the complexity around. So, when you come to church, I hope that you will be before God's altar in all your complexity in confidence. But I also hope that you'll recognize the complexity of Catholic life around you and come to feel at home in it. So, as you come through the main door, you recognize that you are under the patronage of St. Thomas Aquinas, the angelic doctor. And his patronage is a reminder of our mission as a parish to be present to an academic community, to recognize how the intellectual work done there is not only inspired by God, but is a path to God, and helping people who work so hard at study to recognize the spiritual significance of what they're doing. Then, if you look here at this shield of the Diocese of Richmond, recognizing how it is we are connected to its patron, Vincent de Paul, what you think about is that the Diocese of Richmond, in which we are located and of which we are part, spans the whole width of the Commonwealth of Virginia, from the shore to the Tennessee border. Now, there certainly are great cities in there, Richmond, Williamsburg, Charlottesville, Newport News, and so on. But there are also lots of rural areas where people are economically and socially disadvantaged. And Vincent de Paul is the lover of the poor. And all kinds of our parishioners, through the work of volunteering, embrace this truth, so that we're invited to recognize through their work that we are not only gathered into the community of the parish, symbolized by the building of the church, but also gathered into the community of the diocese around us. Then over here to the right, the Dominican tradition captured by this crest of the province of St. Joseph. You see there are 2 parts to it. The outer rim is the shield of the whole order, speaking to us of the patronage of St. Dominic, the preacher of truth. That is, the man who was willing to be undefended and alone in proclaiming the gospel as a gift of love and affirmation to men and women everywhere. It's a great story about St. Dominic. It's one of the fundamental instances of his preaching is that he stayed up all night with an innkeeper, converting him to the Orthodox practice of the Catholic faith. It's an act of love, preaching as an act of love. It's really a distillation of St. Dominic's gift to us. Then the inner part of the shield refers to St. Joseph himself with the 3 lilies and the carpenter's angle. And those are telling us about 2 things. First, St. Joseph's craft as a worker, as a carpenter, reminding us that part of what we do in our prayer is embrace the gift of our work, asking to be renewed in it, to persevere in it, to be generous with it, and to recognize how our work fulfills us personally, as well as contributes to the common good. Whatever our work is, whether our work is a job, or our work is volunteering, or our work is praying for people. And the lilies speak to us of the pure way in which St. Joseph loved Mary and Jesus, those who in a fundamental way were not his own. And in this way, Joseph speaks to each of us about our stewardship of the people in our lives, reminding us that love is not possessive, that love is always seeking to free the other to reach his or her potential. That's a lot of ground to cover in these 3 shields. It's a recognition, I think, that this particular parish captures all 4 of those living traditions: Dominic, Joseph, Thomas Aquinas, Vincent de Paul. The love of the intellectual life, the devotion to service, the practice of stewardship, the preaching that is love. And in all of these ways, taken together, we are able to be a microcosm of the amazing beauty of the Catholic Church. So I hope that when you come here next time, you'll take a look at this whole expanse, this panoply of patronage, and that you'll embrace it, that you'll feel secure within it that these saints are praying for you, and that you'll embrace your connection to all 4 of these strands of holiness. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.